Hi, this is Dave from Priority Bicycles, and I'm going to show you today how to assemble your new Priority basket. Now, before we get started, it's important to remember that for any installation or assembly, such as your basket, we always recommend that you either have the assembly done by a professional bicycle mechanic, or that after you complete at-home assembly, that you have a professional mechanic check your work before riding. Further, it's important to remember that with any load-bearing accessory, like the basket, that you should check for tightness before each and every ride, as these can become loose during the course of use. Now, to get started, you'll need a 10mm and an 8mm open-end wrench, a 5mm and a 4mm Allen wrench. Inside of our box, you're going to first notice one parts kit. Currently, we also have a second bolt kit that's taped or stapled to the bag. Make sure and grab both of those. Remove your basket from the bag and carton. And also remove the legs for the basket from the bottom of the carton. The current version of the basket does include the extra bolt kit, which will mean that you're going to have a few extra nuts and bolts when done. This kit with the long bolt and two shorter bolts is only needed if your bike did not come with a front brake. I'm going to put that aside for now, as my bicycle did come with a front brake. Once I've laid everything out, I'm going to turn over my basket and start by assembling the legs. Each leg has a small hole and a longer hole. The small hole should be installed to the inside of the basket. To do so, I'm going to take the thinner of the included bolts. You can add a washer on each side. And one of the smaller included nuts, and I'll start by hand tightening each. Now, using your 4mm Allen and your 8mm wrench, tighten. I'm going to do each tight enough that the legs can still move rather freely, and I'll come back and do a final adjustment once the basket's on the bike. So again, both are now tight enough that there's some resistance and they're no longer loose, but I can still move them. Now, flip the basket over and grab the included bracket. Again, using two of the thinner bolts and a washer on top, insert each bolt and washer through the top hole. And then on the bottom, again, a washer and bolt. I'm again going to tighten these just enough so that it can still move freely, but is not loose. I suggest trying to push the bracket towards the front or middle for now, and we can adjust it later once on the bike. Now, on this bike, I'm going to use my 5mm Allen wrench to loosen and remove my front brake. If your brake has a quick release, you'll find it easy to flip this up. On some bikes, you'll find you use a 10mm open-end wrench instead of the Allen wrench. With the brake nut removed and the brake shoes open, I'm going to remove the brake and remove the washer. I'm now going to slide the basket so that the brake wire will not get in the way. Put the brake onto the basket. Reinstall the washer with the concave side facing the fork, if there is one, and reinstall. I'm going to push each leg down. And now go ahead and reinstall the nut. You'll want to lift up the basket so that the brake can tighten. And before you tighten down the brake, close the quick release and ensure the pads are equal distance from the rim. Get your brake good and tight. Then grab the brake a few times to ensure that you've remained with your pads equal distance from the rim. Now, using your 4mm wrench, you can remove the bolts on the side of your fork. If your bike does not have these bolts on the side of your fork, this is where the additional bag comes in of bolts. Then, grab each fork leg and assemble. At this point, the basket's on the bike and everything needs to be tightened. So the first thing you can check is, does your basket look level? If it's not, you can slide it forward or backward more along the top here. Once you've ensured it is level, and mine looks good, I'm going to go ahead and tighten down these bolts. Next, I'm going to go ahead and tighten down the leg bolts. At this point, you should go back through and check all bolts for tightness. Give the basket a good shake and ensure it feels secure. Finally, we do again recommend that you have a professional bicycle mechanic check your assembly before riding, and we recommend that you check your basket for tightness before each ride. Please feel free to email us info@prioritybicycles.com with any questions. We hope you enjoy your new basket.